Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of OffBall Podcast. Today is a special one for my co-host, Trayvon Barnes, because we got his old high school coach, still a mentor to Trey to this day, and his coach, Threadgill the fourth. We call him OT4. So everybody, OT4 to the podcast.
How y'all doing, man?
Thank you for being on here with us. And what we like to do on OffBall Podcast is we're really trying to grow a network and a comfortable space for a lot of athletes and even non-athletes to come just hear people's stories, see a life outside of the four lines or wherever they're playing at. So we really just want to get to know you, the impacts you've had on Trey growing up and even still to this day, because I know he's introduced me to you before. So it's good to finally be able to sit down and really get to hear your story. So, before we even start off, we can just talk about, your upbringing, where you went to high school, where you grew up at, where you went to college.
All right. I'm from a small town about 30 minutes south of Obadiah, Tuskegee, Alabama. Born and raised there till I was 17, 18 years old. Played my high school at Booker T. Washington High School there in Tuskegee. I played my college basketball at Stillman College in Tuscaloosa. I've played some Division III. I transitioned to Division II, and so I did that over a course of 5 years. And from that point, my coaching career started about 2004, 2005. So just loving the game, man, and wanting to be. Not really wanting to play the game at a high level, but wanting to be involved in the game, wanting to, have that experience pass to young people, like what all can the game give to you. So that's what it's been for me, just teaching life through basketball, and obviously the challenge of motivating young men to try to achieve the highest level of physical and mental ability. That's just kind of what has got me here. And so me and Trayvon just kicked off so well because he's a like-minded individual. He's very smart. He's very driven. He's talented. And he's a hard worker. So we just want the same things. So anytime you're with somebody and you're working toward a goal and you guys want the same thing, it just makes it that much easier and it makes it that much more enjoyable.
Interesting you said that, because I know the reason me and Trey have always been great friends, and as soon as we met, we were, both on the same track. We both understood that we wanted to win at Hampton, and he's just a hard worker. He's one of the reasons that he pushes me to work so hard, to be honest. So I'm glad I can always bounce ideas off of him and even bounce my work ethic off of him. Just shout out to you, big fella.
That's right.
Man. I appreciate the love, man. Back to your coaching, your dad, obviously was a coach. Is that the reason you feel like you got into coaching as well?
I don't know. I definitely saw it, I saw it my whole life growing up. So, and I saw his impact on his kids and his impact on the community. Even where we live in Tuskegee, my dad didn't teach in Tuskegee. From the time I was born, he was at Notasulga in 1981, and so me and him talk all the time about going to a school that was so profoundly football that they would take the rims off the goals during football season. And if guys didn't play football, they would have a hard time playing basketball. Yeah. So for him to go somewhere like that and really change the culture and become a Hall of Fame level coach at a school like that, man, like what reason do I have not to chase greatness at a school like Lafayette, where it's been for 30 years, it's been basketball first. So to go to Lafayette with the passion for basketball there, and with the skill sets that they come to high school with, if they're able to apply my work ethic and what I bring to it, that's just been the result. The result has been, very prosperous basketball. I have an uncle, my dad's brother, that's also a championship coach. He's been to 5 Final Fours. My grandparents are teachers. My grandfather was a coach. So I think it's just something about reaching back and helping people I kind of got a roadmap. And I don't discourage guys from going their own way if they want to. But if it's something that I know and I can help them with, why would you create your own path through the woods with a machete when I can just give you the map and show you how to get where you're going? It's not always been smooth sailing with our guys. They're from a small town, but they have such different backgrounds with how they're raised and their parents. It's up to us to conform to them. It's not up to them to conform to us because the only thing they know is what they know.
I kind of want to go back and touch on just you in college for a second. Because I also think that'll really help when you start talking about how you're being a role model. Trey told me that you were a Kappa when you all were in college. Where you were in college, I'm sorry.
I played ball my first 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And my third year, me and my coach had some conflicts. So I kind of got put out of the team my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I found myself with so much time on my hands. For my first 2 years, it was practice, meetings, class, practice, meetings, class. And then I get in my third year, and I don't have practice, I don't have meetings, I don't have weights, I don't have any of those things that occupy my time. Yeah. And I was already thinking about, the fraternity life, and I already wanted to be a member of Kappa Psi anyway. That just gave me an opportunity to do it. Mm-hmm. And I went back and played my fourth and my fifth year. It's really hard to do, man, like while you're actively playing sports. It's really hard to do, especially during season.
Yeah, I've known a few people that were attempting to do it. Like during the season, I had old teammates, and only one of them really successfully did it.
It's hard.
So would you say that that upbringing through Kappa Alpha Psi was one of the main reasons that you learned how to grow to, create a brotherhood and be a role model when it came to you coaching in high school?
It's definitely a part of it. I've never been the most talented player on any team I've ever played on. I've never scored the most points. I've never taken the most shots on any team I've ever played on. But I've been a captain on every team I've ever played on. Mm-hmm. So it's just about finding ways to motivate guys and finding ways to make guys shine their brightest. I can play a whole game and not shoot the ball one time. I want to touch it. I want to touch it. I want to touch it now. And I can play in any style. So I can coach any style. You know what I mean? Whether it's motion, whether it's ball screen, whether it's 1-4.
You spoke earlier also about how, certain times people play D3, D2. They might not go play at the highest level. Even for Division I athletes, you might not go to the highest level, but it's still that love for the game that you can still incorporate, and you can continue to play. You can continue to coach. You can continue to give back just because you have that love for the game. I feel like that's a very important statement that you made, just because the percentages for each level as you continue to go up, like fall and fall and fall for who's actually going to make it to the next level. So no, everybody's not going to make it to the NBA, but it's very important to still have that love, especially if you truly love it, because it's a beautiful game. So I think that was a very important statement.
Mm-hmm. Love it, man. It's a wonderful thing. And what I've learned since I've been coaching is that even though I didn't play Division I basketball, I probably could coach it.
Basketball is basketball.
But basketball is basketball. That's right.
Yeah.
I was on your championship team 2015. You was able to bring one back for the city. Obviously, that was a great accomplishment. First championship since 2002, yeah, the 02 team. And that was amazing. Can you just bring me to your mindset of like taking the Lafayette job, knowing the history and knowing the drought we had been on that time, and everything that went into creating that championship team? Because the way you built the program when you came was completely different from how it was being ran before you, even though it was successful in the past.
I did not even know about the drought. I didn't know when Lafayette and Coach Woody had won their last championship. That was not in my mind at all. I was at a school that did not value basketball. And so I was trying to get somewhere where they did value basketball, where basketball was kind of larger than life. The job can open at the right time, and they saw something in me to give me a chance because I had never been a head coach before. So for Lafayette to give me a chance, looking at my overall varsity record, and it's 0-0, I still don't really know what they saw. I don't know what they saw in me, but I'm so appreciative for the opportunity I just needed to get out of where I was. It was totally different than what we're trying to do now. You know, Coach Woody had a lot of success and a lot of great basketball players and some championships, but his style of coaching and my style is different. And I'm not saying that mine is right, and I'm not saying that his is wrong. You know, it's just different. So one of the hardest things was for the community to observe something be done differently than it had been done for 35 years, you know, and it had been done successfully for 35 years. But here this guy come in, he coming from Beauregard, and they don't even play basketball down there, and we don't know what he's doing. The title game in 2013, they weren't happy that we lost, but I think people could see some light. And the biggest thing was the feeling and the hunger that loss put into you, and what it put it into Kaminsky, and it put it into Duke. For you three to go on a trip like that as sophomores and us not win, that changed the course of our lives together, I think.
Sometimes it's those losses that really put that fire under your belly.
Yeah, man. It was a tough one. It was a tough one. And I remember Trey came to me and he was like, Coach, I wanna be Quay. And Quay at that time was our best player and a heck of a basketball player and a heck of a football player. And Trey said, all those actions you running for him, all those shots he's taking, all those baseline inbounds you running for him, I want to be the one you run all that stuff to. I want to be. He came to me and said all of that. So we just started putting that in process. I never had a kid come to me and say, Coach, what you did with him, I want to be that. You know, I want to take that mantle, and I want to lead this team. How do I do it? You know, and we had some guys that were difficult, that, you know, were great players, but were very, very difficult to be teammates with. And Trayvon, being a leader, kept it really, really professional. He showed up early. He left late. You know, by the time everybody else got there, he was already in a full sweat. He had already swept the floor. He probably got up a few hundred shots before everybody else even got there. You know, But when people started to see that kind of stuff, the leadership kind of just took hold. And the effect, you know, the product of that was we got to the Final Four, and we won both games by 30. Each game in the Final Four by 30. You know, that was a result of that process.
Outside of just basketball, like, do you have a hand inside of your community trying to give back? And I understand you're working with the players, which is honestly one of the biggest things you can do for a community is help the youth. So is there anything else outside of just the basketball team that you like to give back and do? I know you have you said 5-year-old daughter now. You know, you're trying to make sure that the community's good for her growing up.
I'm always around them, and not just our basketball players. I'm around all of our athletes and all of our students. You know, and you know, I'm just always available to them. You know, I don't do a whole lot of social media, but I do Instagram more than anything. And for all of them, they can follow it. You know, I tell them all the time I'm not perfect, and I'm far from perfect. You know what I mean? But when it comes to certain things, I just try not to mess it up. You know, opportunities, money, relationships, a lot of that stuff is what they lack. You know, how do you deal with adversity? How do you bounce back when something doesn't go your way? How do you recover when you have a bad day? You know, when you feel like the whole world against you? Yeah, it may not be the case, but that's how they feel. So I just try to help them through all of those type of issues, you know, and that's girls, boys, and coworkers, you know. So I'm accessible. I had the same phone number for 16 years, and I'm about to start my 17th year teaching. Same phone number. You know, I've been at 2 different schools and 2 different communities, and every young man that has ever played on a uniform that I washed, they can call that phone. It's 24 hours. It's never off unless it's dead. That's something that I tell them after every season. Like, if you ever need me, and just pick up the phone and call me, I got the same phone number. The main thing that I try to provide to this community is stability. I do entertain other schools when they call. I will go sit down and listen to them, but I'm not breaking my back to get out of there.
No, but you're definitely doing your part, because just being an African-American male in that environment with a good head on his shoulders and only wants the best for everybody else, a lot of people don't have that. And I already know for a lot of your players, you're definitely a good role model. For the students, just see you around, I already know it's nothing but good times.
You're not trying to, get out of there. We've had these conversations about you, coaching college. From what I've experienced and the people I've met in college, coaching like different coaches, from recruiting, from playing, whatever, I definitely think you should be a college coach. Obviously, you got a family to think about first. But how much have you entertained the idea of coaching college?
I've had some opportunities to get to some bigger high schools. I hadn't had an opportunity. A college job hadn't opened up and hadn't contacted me. It's something that I would love to do, but I'm not a young coach. You know what I mean? I'm not a 22-year-old GA, and at this point, I have to kind of think about my long term. So what I really want to do is I want to retire from public school first, and then if I can get some mid-level D1, if I can get some Division II, if I can get some junior college, I'll be looking to do that. But I got to secure this. I got to secure this retirement first. Even if it paid me more, I have to set myself up, for 50s and 60s. So I would like to get these 25 years in, and at the end of those 25 years, I can go do whatever I want to do. Like, let's say a Miles or Tuskegee, they here and they're private. They came and offered me $90,000 a year. I probably would take it, but it wouldn't be probably the most prudent thing to do. Being that I have 8 years before I reach retirement.
Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Really, what I love watching you guys do is taking those next steps after basketball. You know what I mean? For a lot of athletes, that's one of the biggest things and one of the hardest things to do. This platform that you guys are building, the things that you are doing, when your body says enough, or when you say it's enough, for you guys to already be thinking, well, Keem, you're going to run this part of the program and you're going to do your cooking channel. For guys to have a smooth transition into other things that they're passionate about. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you guys being so young and having those visions already worked out, and not only having those visions, but putting those feet to pavement and go ahead and starting those things. That's major, man. You guys are gonna show a lot of guys, that it's life after sports. Even though y'all not finished yet. Basketball is a vehicle. Football is a vehicle. It's not the end all be all. It's a vehicle to help you get some free schooling, or help you get some discounted price schooling, helping you travel, helping you see different places that you wouldn't have been able to go had you not been playing, helping you be more familiar with different cultures. I know it opened my eyes up, and I got a chance to do a lot of things through basketball that I just simply wouldn't have had a chance to do without it. I appreciate you guys doing that, man. I think it's great. You guys got a great thing going, man. Just continue to build it. This platform can be, in 5 or 10 years, man, as big as anything else.
Thank y'all for another episode of the OffBall Podcast. Make sure you guys check everything out. Instagram, YouTube. It's going to play right after this. So go ahead, Trey, run it. Thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of the OffBall Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on the Anchor app, Instagram, and Twitter, and we'll be back next week with more content.